Our activeness and commitment to our consciousness agenda here at BizVision means we get to discover some amazing initiatives by equally committed entrepreneurs. My guest today is one of the tops. You see, I've long believed the top-down diversity and inclusiveness, D&I, approach it's almost like dictating and won't truly work for the longer term. Far better if you can achieve a bottom-up so that a generation emerges both understanding D&I and, you may say, born with it in their DNA. You're about to find out what I mean. My guest is the founder of a fantastic children's animated show called Zayn and Zayna's Little Farm. Intrigued? Then welcome, Wa'qaar. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Malcolm. Lovely to be invited on your show, and I hope you're well, and I hope your viewers and audience are also safe and well in this very difficult time. And I'm very privileged and humbled to be here.
I'm so delighted, and I am so looking forward to visiting Zayn and Zayna's Little Farm. I've probably both confused and bemused viewers with that introduction. So first of all, let's start by you explaining and telling us about Zayn and Zayna and who they are.
Well, I suppose really, first of all, Zayna is about celebrating the importance of family values, respecting one another, care for the environment, how to think creatively, and how to practice mindfulness. That's really the essence of the show. And what it's about is a family lived in a city, mum, father, nanny, and two brothers and sisters and some pets. And the father was a greengrocer, the mother was a vet, and they always wanted to live nearer the country. So one day they pack their bags and go and buy a little farm in the countryside. And the story revolves around Zayna, who is a key character, and the lessons she learns in life. Every day, every week, she has a challenge or an issue. For example, she throws the ball over the neighbor and she doesn't get it back. And she goes, why is that happening? And her mother said, look, maybe, we need to respect things. So she goes to her nanny and she has this magic book, and the book is there to inspire people to read. And the book says, well, look, maybe if we respected people, we would all get on well. So the whole episode then revolves around respecting each other, respecting ourselves, respecting our parents, respecting nature, authority, family. And then each episode sort of evolves. We one on neighbors, we have one on hard work, we one on mindfulness, and so forth. And that's really, in a nutshell, what it's about.
Yeah, a lot more than a nutshell thinking has gone into that, though. But some of my viewers may be thinking, well, what's Zayna and Zayna got to do with my aspirations to be a conscious business? I suggest a lot. So give it to them, Wa'qaar.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. What is it got to do with it? I think there's two sides of the equation. One, that we are all, as we've seen in the world, we're living in difficult times where tolerance and racism and all this stuff is growing. And then, on the other side, we have lots of stuff on TV, which is very materialistic, very trivial, doesn't really have any message. And so we have kids growing up with no direction because parents are very busy. They cannot always give that sort of direction. And really what we want to do was to wake up the conscious of people and bring sort of mindfulness into it. And I think Zayn and Zayna's foundation is based on the conscience of where we are, where we live, and those that produce programs of this nature, they need to have that conscience to go forward to make a better society. I guess that's what it's about. And we as a company are a social impact company. We do make a profit, but we plow back our profit into things like orphanages and other social impact work. So in a sense, our purpose and our message is around that consciousness, if you like.
Excellent, excellent. And I was just thinking there, as you were telling me that many parents, I suppose, need Zayna because they themselves do not understand diversity and inclusion or how to present it. And things like mindfulness are quite new, in a way. Now, you created Zayn and Zayna because you believe that mainstream broadcasters focus on tokenism in diversity and inclusion. Why do you think they do that? Out of safety, less risk, make more money, or greater viewership? And what will awaken them to the value and importance of what you're doing?
I think it's an interesting question. And the point about it is, first of all, you mentioned that parents don't necessarily have all the answers. Not all, we're all gifted to be geniuses. We're generally normal people, and we don't know the answer to everything. And sometimes we become parents for the first time in a very remote environment. We don't have that family circle, and it's difficult to know everything. I think the problem we have is that currently the broadcasters and the producers work very much in tandem and only produce what is going to make them money. And what is going to make them money is where the advertisers are willing to pledge, because it's an advert that will fit into that. The problem is that no one has the sort of, I don't know what, they have the ability, but no one has the bravery or the guts to actually say, hang on, we live in a very diverse environment, multicultural society. We have from all people from all sorts of walks of life, not just, color, race, but religion, gender, and all this. And they don't want to tackle that because that means a lot more thought, a lot more investigation, a lot more research, a lot of more money expenditure. And it's easier to produce an animal that is fluffy and yellow that is supposed to be another person of another color, or a giraffe that is blue because that represents someone from another ethnic background, than to actually create characters, because it means you would have to think a lot more. So I think it's to do with fear of not upsetting the audience, fear of not upsetting the advertisers, and ignorance of how actually it could benefit from it. And I think that sort of is I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, very much so. And we won't go anywhere near all those comments about a certain broadcaster being too woke and things like that. But Wa'qaar, here at BizVision Conscious Business, we're totally committed to the future successful business as being one totally living the conscious agenda. But at the moment, many leaders are simply adding it in as an addendum or afterthought. What do you say to those leaders to convince them that consciousness needs to be a fundamental part of their business culture and DNA?
Well, I think probably now is the greatest time in human history, because the whole world is resetting its moral compass, its business compass, its commercial compass. Everybody's, what the heck have we been doing? Where have we gone wrong? Because the world is in a mess. We have the richest time in the world, but we have the poorest people in the world. How can that be? How can you join up to that? One person could wipe out the entire debt of the world and give every poor person a house. How can that be? And I think what it is that people have not taken the trouble to learn the benefits of being or thinking like that, as you say. And I think this time has brought it on. And I would say to people is that there has to be a new paradigm of doing business, a totally new way of doing it. And it will happen no matter what they forces against it. There is going to be a new paradigm. And I think the paradigm is going to be where there's a profit, but with purpose. Obviously, you cannot you have to have a purpose behind it. And I think my view is that people will need to have a criteria in when they set up any form of business, whether it's media or anything, and that is one: do I harm human beings? Do I hurt people? Does it damage society? And I think those sort of criteria, if you can't sell it to your mother and your children, then you shouldn't be doing it, right? And I think those sort of things are gonna happen, and those discussions will be happening very soon.
Very, very well said, Wa'qaar. Very well said. You've achieved and are achieving a lot with your innovative approach to diversity and inclusion. What are you especially proud about it all? And what gets you up in the morning raring to go?
Well, look, I mean, I think we all, you, me, and the other people, are all blessed with a gift. Some of us don't know that gift, and some of us do know that gift. And those that we are, in our own way as a filmmaker, I would do my little bit for society. And I wake up every morning and say, my passion is to do something good that will touch the hearts of people, make them better through my skills. Someone might be doing it through an architect, but I do it through my filmmaking. And I think that I suppose what is proud is that being asked to go on talks and speeches and all that around the world about diversity, and particularly in kids area, I think we've woken up some of the latent sort of things that were going on, and I think that's good that I've raised that issue a little bit in the niche area that I work in. And I suppose I'm proud of that we've achieved something. But listen, it's a gift from God, and I personally don't take credit as such. We're all blessed with something, and we're just actually making that gift work.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm a little bit more boring than that, though. I wake up in the
No,
morning
no.
because my dog tells me he wants to go out.
No. I mean, look, we're doing great. We're doing multi-faith work in
Yeah.
making films about multi-faith. We're doing lots of other stuff to really engage people.
No, I'm totally with you. I was being a bit facetious there. I do like to do my mindfulness in the morning. Now, just before we move on to the next question, though, I just want to remind people that on the screen behind me is the URL for you to go along and find a lot more about Zayn
Please.
and Zayna. Yep.
And give us the feedback online.
Oh, yes. You love that. Don't forget, feedback to Wa'qaar. Now, what's next for Zayn and Zayna? I can see them running an IT company. Anything you can reveal?
Well, look,
I'm looking for an exclusive.
Zayn and Zayna is not really just an animation, because that is not enough to change the world. You have to think of a 360 holistic lifestyle product: books, games, toys, e-learning. So we're developing a full ecosystem. In fact, we're going to be opening nursery schools. We're going to be setting a whole ecosystem. And so what we want to do is use this story of values right across the medium of media and outside the media to get our message over, because you cannot get it through one medium. No. You have to have and I think that the plan is to go global, and the plan is to be a lifestyle brand with a purpose.
Excellent. And I love your focus upon purpose, because I think mission has got a little bit tainted. Purpose is very much purposeful, Now, Wa'qaar, I like to give all my guests 3 wishes. If I were to give you 3 wishes for the understanding by business leaders of the benefits that sound diversity and inclusion bring to the business, what would those 3 wishes be?
Oh, 3 wishes. That's a difficult one. 3 wishes. I suppose my first wish is that we in the world should celebrate diversity. It is incredible benefits of intermixing ideas, culture, art, food, travel. You cannot embrace diversity. You have to celebrate it. And honestly, if you lived in countries with a monochrome culture or a monochrome, you realize how boring it is. We are so blessed in England that we have such richness, and we should embrace it. We should celebrate it. That's number one. Secondly, I think people that are in business out there, in any business environment, please look at the commercial value of diversity. There is trillions of dollars of business in every ethnic segment or faith or whatever or color, and you are missing a big trick. That's why we have so many niche players in those markets, because the mainstream is not looking at them. Tesco is a great example, a UK retailer who in Ramadan sold millions and millions of worth of goods, because they understood that in Ramadan you buy lots of food, right?
Yeah.
So go and find out how diversity can be commercialized. Then you will see the benefit. That's number 2. Number 3, I think, is that we they used to have this thing called emotional intelligence. That you've heard that word. We all need that, and that's important. I think we need cultural intelligence now, and my view is, people, be brave. Go out there and be brave. Do amazing things in the area of diversity. There is no bounds. There's no barriers. There's no rules. Go and do great things. Let's be brave now. And the channels in particular. I suppose they're my 3 wishes.
They're brilliant 3 wishes. I'm going to give you a 4th, by the way, that everybody that's been watching this has taken down the URL behind me and make certain that their children and their grandchildren in my case, are going to watch Zayn and Zayna. Wa'qaar, I have thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. Thanks for a brilliant interview.
Well, look, it's a pleasure to join you and your audience, and thank you very much for having me. It's been a great honor. Thank you.